That is pure potato crust. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today it's baking day again, actually. Been making more bread. Now if you want to know how to make a bloomer, we did bloomers before on the channel. You know, go ahead and have a look. You know, you can't beat good old fresh bread. Look at that. Anyway, we're not about that today. We are making a tuna and sweet corn potato bake. We have some mashed potato and we've got a raw potato. We're going to grate the potato, wring it out, mix it with the mash, bake it in the oven as a bake, and then we're going to put the filling in. Come on, let's get on with it. Okay, grab yourself a towel. Might as well start off with the towel in there because we're going to wring it out anyway. And I will be using, well, I was going to use an 8x8 baking dish, but I've decided I'm going to use an 8x8 spring form tin. You know, then we can just sort of like pop it out, I think. We'll see in a minute when we see how much mix we've got. Okay, so what we need to do is grate some potato. And come on, it's straightforward. Just grate your potato. Okay, it's a case of just pull it up and we're going to give it a twist and a squeeze. We want all that potato juice out of there. Okay, well, when you've had your daily workout, it's going to be back in that bowl. There you go. There you go. Quite dry. Beautiful. Right, what we're going to do is take our mash and we're going to mix it in there. Now, I'm going to just add a little bit of butter because what's going to happen, the butter is going to help bind it all together and cook in the oven. So we've got that going on. We've got some mashed potato in there. And we're going to go in there with a little bit of pepper. Salt and pepper to taste, you know, whatever you like. A little bit of salt in there. And we're going to give that a good mixing up. Now I'm going to mix it with my hand, but you know, you mix it whichever way you want. We want all that in there, fully incorporated. You're going to want your oven on about 200 degrees. Get that mixed through there. Now, if you were mashing up from scratch, you would be putting milk and butter in. I've got old mash. I'm not adding any milk. This is wet enough. So I'm going to take my springform tin. I've decided to use that. We're going to dump our potato in there. Now we want to squash it down and take it up the sides. So make sure you can bring some up the sides. This is our pastry, if you like, if you were making a quiche or anything like that. This would be our pastry side. So I've got myself a spoon and I'm just going to give it a little smoothie in there, you know, and smooth up the sides. Try and get it the same thickness if you can. It doesn't matter if you can't. This is a fantastic way to use up mashed potato. You just add it with a bit of raw. And that raw is going to give it just that little bit of structure to bring it together, we hope. Well, I think that's looking a bit cracking. What we're going to do is shove that in the oven and we're going to bake that to set up a little bit. And that is going to be our base. So I've got myself a tray, look. I am going to put it on the tray because there could be some butter and things run out of there. And we don't want to run it in the oven, do we? So that's going to go in there. And we're only going to bake it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Nice and straightforward. When you've got a little bit of colour and stuff on there, bring that out. So it's a little bit firmed up, just firmed up enough to actually bake our dish inside. Okay, we're going to get a pan on and we're going in there with some butter. This is melted butter. It's that warm here today, but no worries. Don't worry about it, get it in. A nice little gentle flame on. And we're going to go in there with our onions. Cook out the rawness of the onion. If you get colour, it doesn't matter, but we're not after colour. Just a little cook in there. We want a little pinch of salt just to help with the moisture. Bring it out of those onions, and we're going to hit that with some black pepper. In you go. Salt and pepper to taste. Fabulous. So we're going to do an all-in-one job here. We're going to make a roux, but we're cooking the onions first. And then we're going to chuck some flour in on the top. Make a roux. And then we're going to turn it into a bit of a mornay. We're going to chuck some cheese in. This is such a fantastic recipe, you know. Serve it up with a salad or chips, anything. Goes really good with a nice salad. So when you've had a little bit of cooking on your onions, in there, a little bit of flour. Cook out the rawness of the flour in there with the onions. A bit of a sizzle whizzle going on in there, look. That's fabulous. Okay, hit that up with your milk. All the milk. Nice little stir in there. Stir it in. Cook out that flour and that milk together. Make a nice little roux. We're going to be going in there with some mustard. English mustard works absolutely fantastic. I'm going in there with a little bit of Dijon. A teaspoon's worth. Nice and straightforward. Starting to thicken, look. That is fantastic. Flame off, we don't want to go any more than that. And we want to go in there with some cheddar. Get the cheddar in. I mean, you can stir in a little bit of mozzarella as well if you want, that's up to you. But I was going to save the mozzarella to go over the top. So there you go, just stir that in there. That's our cooking done actually. This is going to be a nice, oh, splash. This is going to be a nice cheesy Mornay sauce. Just stir it in till all the cheese melts in there. So we got this nice steady sauce there, look. What we need to do now is chuck our sweet corn in there. I'm going to chuck our tuna in. I'm just going to give this a little whisk through. We can be a bit rougher with the sweet corn, so just stir that through there. And then we're going in there with our tuna. We're just going to try and fold this in a little bit and not just stir it in so it's all mush. Let's see if we can have some chunks of tuna in our sauce. Okay, so just get your mix in there. Nice and easy. Fill it up. There's no point having it half full. Bring it up to the top like that. Want to go on there with a little bit of mozzarella, I reckon. Just let a little bit of mozzarella melt on the top. A little bit of cheddar on there for colour. There you go. That goes in the oven for about 25 minutes. Let's get it in there. Okay, when you've had enough time, let's have that out of there. Look at that, that is superb. Now what you could do, you could leave this 10 minutes, serve it up, it's absolutely boiling in there. Ooh. Or you could let it go completely cold and you could eat this with a nice salad. Okay, come on, this has had about 25 minutes actually. Cool enough to handle. Oh, is it stuck? Oh, there you go. That is potato. Wow, look at that. That looks absolutely sensational. Now let's drop that off there, onto there. Oh yeah. You think we can get in? Come on. Here we go. Oh, look at that. That is spectacular. That is absolutely sensational. There you go, potato crust, a creamy tuna and sweet corn bake, no pastry. Fabulous. Come on, we are in. Straight through there, straight through that cheesy top. Oh yes, please. Oh yes, please. That is absolutely fabulous. This is our potato pastry. Look at that. Just look at that. Oh yeah. Oh man. If you like potato cakes, you like that texture of potato cakes. It's a bit more solid because it's pastry. It's absolutely phenomenal. That is fantastic. Back in here on this pastry. Oh, look at that. That is all potato. How healthy is that? That is a fantastic meal. Stick that with a hearty salad. Bung on a handful of chips if you want chips with your potato. Up to you. So there you go. Share with your friends. Tell them how easy it is to make this crusty potato or potato crust creamy tuna and sweet corn bake. And if you do like what we're doing, big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, and we'll catch you in the next video. Oh yeah, that is just sensational. Wow.